Hey everybody, thanks for joining me today. I have Leanne Vogel, the founder of healthfulpursuit.com and also a friend of mine, and I'm so happy to have you. Welcome, Leanne.
Hey guys, hey Lori, nice to be here.
And we're going to talk about a decade being in nutrition. Both Leanne and I have now been nutritionists for a decade, and we thought that it would be really interesting to sort of take a look back and see how our profession has evolved, but also chat a little bit about what she's doing with her sponsorships, with her affiliates, with her brands, so that you guys can have a different business model that may suit you better than perhaps one-on-one coaching. So that's what we're going to talk about. But for those few people who don't know who Leanne is, why don't you just take a minute and introduce yourself?
Yeah, you bet. Leanne Vogel, that's my name. I graduated in 2007 from CSNN, and I am a fat-fueled, high-fat enthusiast. So I have a blog and a YouTube channel and a podcast. I'm writing a book that's coming out April 11th of 2017, and I talk about high-fat living. And I got into this because I was clueless about nutrition and treating my body like garbage, and decided to take nutrition, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. So now I'm doing a whole bunch of things online. I don't enjoy doing things in person, one-on-one. I just feel like I can reach a lot more people with my message online. So yeah, that's a little bit about me and Healthful Pursuit, really.
And so share with us what those first few years looked like for you in your business, if you remember them.
Yeah, I totally remember them because I hated them. Like, it was horrible. So I knew that I didn't want to work at a chiropractor's office or anything like that. I don't like having a boss. And I knew that, when I was studying nutrition, I didn't even really want to make this a profession, but I loved it so much that I said, okay, like, why not? So I wanted to be my own boss, and I still had a full-time job. So I figured I would just meet with clients in their homes. And that was really convenient for a lot of people, but not so convenient for me, because I would work like 9 to 5, and then I'd get in my car and be eating my dinner on my way to my clients, and having to drive from the Southwest to the Northwest, back to the Southwest to the Southeast. Like, it was just insane. And I had very little time for myself. And there was one day I remember specifically, I was stuck on the highway. I was going to be late for a meeting, and I had a hard-boiled egg in my lunch, and I had nowhere to crack it. And it was like a newish car. I didn't want to get dirty. So I cracked on the outside of my windshield, like to crack open the egg. And I was like, I'm not about this life. I can't be cracking hard-boiled eggs on the side of my car. Like, I can't do this. So then my husband, my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, we talked about a blog and setting up like a website where I could share recipes that I was making for my clients. So we kind of set that up, and then hundreds of people started coming to my blog that I didn't know, and then thousands, and then hundreds of thousands. And so over time, I just kind of phased out the clients and started focusing on my online business. So that process took about 3 years for me to kind of figure out from clients to, okay, online, and then another, what would it be, like 5 years until my business really kicked off online. That was kind of like the 5-year mark was like, oh my gosh, yeah, those 5 years was definitely worth the investment.
And that's so interesting. And I love that you're so transparent about the length of time. I just did a Facebook Live the other day talking about you're in the building phase for like at least the first 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so this whole idea of, the hundreds of thousands of people that now follow you, that did not happen in year one.
No, like not at all. Like not even a little bit. Like I said, like 5 years. 5 years was like the year where I was making enough money that I could, support both of us, to the point where now in the 7th year, Kevin's quit his job, and now we're working on this together. So that's really cool that he was able to support me while I was making like $0 with this. And, it's also true. There comes a point where you kind of have to jump, and that was a big point for me at around that 3-year mark. I wasn't making a ton of money. Like maybe it was $1,000 a month. I had a good amount of subscribers, and I felt really good about it. And I just said, is this something I want to do? And I said, yes. And so I quit my job and I just committed myself. And that's when I could spend more time on it. But you're right. You have to be realistic. I can't tell you how many times, even now, like I look at people that are like making 8, 9 figures and I'm like, oh, I want to get there. Like, how did they do it? I need that. It looks like it happened overnight, but it doesn't, it totally doesn't. You just have to focus on what you love and be passionate about it. And it just will take time.
Totally. And so at the Wellness Business Summit, Leanne's one of our speakers at the summit, and she's going to be talking all about, working with brands and affiliates and making money and having that kind of business model versus even running online group programs or seeing clients like on a one-to-one coaching basis. So why don't you share a little bit about how you got started with working with brands, and maybe a little bit of like a sneak peek of what they're looking for.
Yeah, you bet. So at the time I hadn't sold any online products. So to give you an idea, like right now my business is made up of online products that I sell to customers, and that makes up quite a large portion of our revenue. But that can be challenging when you have a smaller business. And I was getting contacted by businesses all the time, like nut butter companies and greens powder companies, and they were sending me free product and I was writing about it. And then I thought, I'm spending 6 or 7 hours per blog post per feature for you guys. What are you giving me? Like, I can't pay my mortgage with greens powder. Like, so that was kind of the shift of like, wait a minute, I'm doing marketing for you. I have a marketing background. So I just started reaching out to these companies with a media kit, which I learned how to do online via YouTube and just like figured it out, and started putting together a media kit, telling them that, if you want to send me free product, that's great. I'll eat it, but I'm not going to promote it unless you pay me. And so that kind of became that model. And it was really important to me at the very, very beginning of this, not to promote companies that I didn't totally love. Because there's nothing worse than, somebody saying, oh yeah, check out this fresh fruit mix at the grocery store, and you find out there's sugar in it when you buy it. And that makes that person look bad, right? Mm-hmm. So that model has always been like companies that I totally love and I'm behind and I want to promote. I'm doing the work. I'm promoting them. So a lot of people have issue with like, I don't feel okay. Like they're giving me product. I don't feel okay, them paying for it. Think of yourself as an advertisement agency, really. You're advertising their brand. You're sharing their message to your people in an authentic way. You deserve to be compensated for that. And I know that can be really, really hard for people to kind of get over that hump, but it's so important. And so over time, like I partnered with like a handful of brands and made like $100 per feature. Like it was really, really small. And now I'm up to, over $10,000 for a partnership with certain brands for the year. And we're setting up really cool marketing campaigns that are spanning across the entire year, where we're focusing on what's important to the people that are reading my blog and what sort of media do they want to, engage with. Like my podcast listeners like different things than my YouTube listeners. And how do we bridge the gap of, struggles that my customers have and my readers have to what these brands can provide to them. So it's really cool to be able to focus on providing my readers and my community with products that I know will make their life better, and also support these brands in building their businesses. Like some of these brands I partnered it with when they first got started, and now they're huge and we're being huge together. And that's really cool, with the cookbook, and they're promoting my cookbook and I'm promoting their products. So it's this really beautiful relationship with partners that can span years upon years. Like I have some that have been partnered with me for 6, 7, 8 years.
That's amazing. That's incredible. And what's interesting? The biggest takeaway that I personally just got from what you just said was that you were spend 6 or 7 or 8 hours writing a blog post. And I wanted to hone in on that, because people ask me, and I'm sure they ask you too, how did you do it? And the only thing that I can say to them is with a lot of time and a lot of consistency. And I love that you said that it took you 6 or 7 hours to write a blog post. I don't think that people realize, the time and energy and the consistency. I'm sure you blog every day. You still put out an enormous amount of content, which is why these brands want to work with you.
Yes, it's so important to maintain consistency. And I say to everyone, like, if your consistency is once a month, awesome. If it's once a week, great. If it's twice a week, whatever. It doesn't matter. You just have to like commit to it. You can't, like, I have a content schedule, and it doesn't matter if I'm tired on a Wednesday and I have to write a blog post for Thursday. It has to get done, because at the end of the day, you know, you say, okay, well, maybe I'll do it on Friday, but people are expecting something from you on that Thursday. It's not on Friday. It's not on Saturday. And if you want to be that lenient with your calendar, I mean, a lot of people are. It doesn't work for me because I really want freedom in my life, and that freedom, you know, to just like get in our RV and go places and not have to answer to anyone, you know, like that's really important to me. So by maintaining a very, very strict schedule allows you also to grow, you know, like now I have a staff of 16. We're going to add the 16th one hopefully today after I have an interview, and like everything's in place, you know, like I'm like, Wednesdays are blog posts, you know, Sundays are podcasts. Like it makes it a lot easier to grow when you have a schedule and you know how much time things take, and when to outsource. But so yeah, it does take time from start to finish. It's about 7 hours for a blog post, maybe about 8 hours for a podcast. It's like 14 hours for a YouTube video. Like it's work. Like it's not easy.
No, but it affords you that freedom. So for people who are wanting to get started with brands, and of course you're going to be, you know, going into the nitty gritty when you come speak at the Wellness Business Summit in June, and you're going to share exactly how you did it when you were first starting out and didn't have this huge audience.
Yes.
And you got those first, you know, relationships that you still hold to this day. But for those people watching, what tip can you give them so that they can start creating a platform that would be attractive to affiliates and brands?
Yeah, you bet. The first thing is believe in yourself. That's a huge thing. You have to believe in your value that you bring to the table anytime you're speaking with a potential partner or an affiliate. And the second thing is, what I found really helpful is the media kit. Like even if it's just you start thinking about what would I put on a piece of paper to talk about how awesome I am, what I bring to the table, and kind of who I'm attracting. And really knowing your customer is really important, because you're going to be asked like, who are your people? So surveys are really good for that. So, you know, just paneling, even if you have 3 people that follow you, like it doesn't matter. A survey can be 3 people, it could be thousands of people, but just asking them like, what are you struggling with? What do you need? And that can be helpful to kind of put together that media kit. So those are kind of the 3 things that I would say right off the bat you can start marinating on.
And if you're someone who wants to work with brands, wants to get sponsored, wants to work with affiliates, and you don't know what a media kit is, just Google it, because
Google's your friend.
Google is your friend. And you just have to get started. So we're going to go way more into detail at the Wellness Business Summit. Thank you so much, Leanne, for taking the time to chat with us, and we'll see you all in June.
Yeah, awesome. Bye.